Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the Senate President's comments at the Senate. We're going to take a few tweets. There was one from Senator Shehu who was responding to the video that went viral. We're going to show it on screen to see, just to discuss it. Also, lots of people felt that. For me, I think okay, let me just read it now. Crediting the legislature's accounts are done under mute button. The uncommon Senate president mistakenly pressed the alarm. So I don't know if it's an alarm, but as you said, you're not supposed to tell us that you get allowances. But it's quite interesting because many of us work at corporate organizations, especially if you're top executives. And when you're traveling, usually you get some kind of a stipend or something to support you when you're traveling. So we know it happens in corporate organizations. We also are aware that it happens in government, but maybe we would like a demonstration of the season we are in, where they can either reduce this number. So let it be legally done. Let us see that, okay, usually we budget this amount for like lawmakers. That has been slashed. The same way Lagos State government slashed, the BRT, I think 25, 50%, and then the yellow buses, 25%. You know, let us see some deliberate action, understanding that things are different. But when you do it, in such a way...
we had asked the question. I asked the question before the president's speech addressing us, even though, yes, I said we had renewed hope and we had the plan for palliative. There was one question that I asked that wasn't answered. I even asked after, it still hasn't been answered. It is a question of, in specific terms, in terms of numbers, how is the executive cutting costs? How are we having the National Assembly cutting costs? Specifically, Nigerians are cutting costs. Many Nigerians are cutting costs. It is unfair of our leaders to continue to live and earn similar amounts of money when we are having to cut costs, when businesses are shutting down. So it is just a reflect what is going on situation that, okay, because I am your leader, let me let you know the sacrifices I am also making. Then you tell us. They will not be like, wow, well done. We will now feel for you or we'll connect with you on that level. We haven't seen that. We haven't. And it seems a bit, that's why I said that we are grateful to God that mistake happened. Many Nigerians are grateful because it helps us to see and then we know where to address better, how to address the situation better. We don't wish ill on our leaders. We want our leaders to look good, do well, enjoy good quality life. We want our leaders to ball, to flex, just as we are also wanting to ball, to flex, to enjoy good life.
If you are giving support, travels allowance to 109 senators, that's a lot of people.
Minimum of how much?
So imagine, we don't know the numbers look like.
We don't know.
We don't know the numbers, but the truth is that giving... So, let me take this call from Yakub. Good morning, thanks for calling.
Yeah, good morning, Mariah.
You're live.
Good morning,
Go ahead,
everyone.
please.
Mariah, I think it is God has made us to know this. To me, it shows us that this is what we have been passed through all over the years since 1999. And then the question now is this. He says so, but what is exactly a month?
Yakub? Oh, yikes. So we lost Yakub.
Yeah. Yes, so, you know, the truth is, we have asked, you know, a few of them, like, you make a lot of money, and they insist, just as you said in the beginning, you know, they insist that I can show you my pay slip. But now the questions we'll ask, as Dr. says, we'll ask it differently, because we now know that there are some tokens.
Prayers.
Prayers that are being sent around. So when we see them, we're not going to ask you about your basic salary. We will not listen when you tell us about your basic salary. When you're done, you will now give us the budget on the tokens, the prayers, and things like that. And let's see. But the honest truth is, we hope that like the National Assembly understands that this period is a tough one and that they would also make the necessary adjustments going forward. You know, because we've been talking about ministers and nominations of ministers, I've been waiting that, you know, once this is done, the next line of conversation has to be, what are you going to do differently? I said that they should just accept that this particular 10th assembly is an austerity assembly. Things are going to be hard, and we would have to, you know, adjust as Nigerians are adjusting. And it will send the message clearer, and you will initiate, you would, you know, motivate, you will No, it's you will. What's the word I'm trying to say? You will, and when you bring out something from, people would be more patriotic. You know, inside of them, they would feel that they are part of a.
I'll come to you, Damola, in a second. Let me take caller from Agege. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Please, I agree with one of you there who said, look, I sincerely do not see anything, except we want to continue to be hypocritical with what the Senate President said. Most of the time, we sensitize a lot of worldly things. Look, one of the things I know for sure is that, look, as soon as any of the senators get back to their various constituencies, they will be bombarded by their constituents, even by journalists and a lot of others who will bombard them with a lot of requests here and there. I am not trying to speak for them. I know he could be more sensitive to the populace feelings. But look, we kind of turn a lot of things into what's the name called? All these social media issues and so on and so forth. Look, a lot of them, most of the time, end up spending so much on their constituents at the end of the day. So what's the big deal? As we speak, a lot of them still go abroad for all manners of trainings, collecting extra codes and so on and so forth. I'm talking in terms of all the public servants. So a lot of things, except if we do not want to get to know what is going on. Thank you.
Let me come to you, Damola, for a second, because I know that, you know, based on what the president had told about the renewed hope, and these people he supported in various positions. So we understand their political decisions. Whether we like it or not, he's a politician and also a technocrat, but he's mostly a politician. So whether he likes it or not, he has to engage his people at some point or support them. But do you think these people are totally and completely aligned with this renewed hope? Because if they are, or if they were, maybe we would having to deal with the way they've always done. Because we had that issue when they started with the screening. We're saying that, why are you guys just laughing about it in the beginning? But when the backlash came, they all adjusted and started paying attention. And even I heard the Senate President himself saying, listen, this is renewed hope. You know, so he got the feedback. But the point is that things are supposed to look different. Things are supposed to be different. But I don't think they realize how important we need a change to be seen across board.
Well, like I mentioned, I think when we discussed this on one of our shows, I was saying that our public officials need to understand that the renewed hope is not just a slogan. It's a movement. So you need to embody it. And just like Miriam was saying it, like until you embody it, the people that you're trying to represent would not see the good works that you're trying to do. It's important that things are not done. It shouldn't be business as usual, because if you're saying renewed hope, it should be drummed into the ears of the public officials that whatever you do, your actions, the moves that you make, everything has to connote this movement. And our public officials need to also understand that the relationship that exists between them and us Nigerians is like having an insecure partner. So we do not, so we've been shown a lot of pepper. So we are always defensive,
on the edge,
always on the edge. So it is on them. The responsibility is on them. They don't want to keep getting backlashes. It is on them to actually frame a clear communication and framework to say that we are transparent. We understand what you've been through and how you've been treated in the past. So we are coming out with our public funds, our expenditure. For example, I do not see why we should not have a website that shows all the expenditure of, you know, the...
That's too ambitious.
Yeah, well...
But it's good to put it out there.
It's possible.
Okay. Let me take
we can achieve it.
Let me take this call from Dayo. Dayo is calling from Ibadan. Thanks for calling, Dayo.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for having me. And I want to speak with you guys in terms of what sensitivity it is for that kind of statement made by the Senate President. But I want to join the last caller by saying that this is being blown out of proportion. Yes, they are all saying it. But the recess allowance is embedded in the salary structure of the
House member. If we have to change this, we have to go through Constitution to change it. Their recess allowance is just like you and I taking our leave. They don't have leave allowance. They don't go on leave. So if we are saying recess is as good as, if things are hard, has any one of us gone so far to go and say to our employer, because things are hard, don't pay me my leave allowance again? Is their recess allowance, if it's bogus, if it's outrageous, we can go into it and say, let's reduce it. We can't say because people are serving us that they can't go on recess, and when they go on recess, they can't have that leave allowance that you and I are having from our employer. What they use that money for is another ballgame, because we are saying that when they give me my leave allowance, I won't go abroad again for vacation. I want to cut my quota according to size. They can find a way to use their own too in order to...
Okay, I didn't hear him very well.
He's saying that it's just like us too. When you work and you need to travel, you sometimes get leave allowance.
Yeah.
Would you now say, because things are tough, when your guy says, come and take leave allowance, you say, I beg, don't give me.
Oh, gotcha.
So addressing the last two callers, just contributing to what they've said from a different perspective, majority of Nigerians don't get leave allowance. Majority of Nigerians, like statistically, majority of Nigerians don't get leave allowance. Majority don't work in corporate world. Majority don't have that opportunity. We still have a high number of casual workers, and we have casualization still going on. So I understand that. We're not even against, like I said, sincerely, I want a quality life for myself. I want to live well, and I want my representatives too to live well. I'm just saying that there should be a level of, we should communicate your sacrifice, because everybody is making sacrifice. That's just what I would like us to hear from them. And there must be sacrifices, even if it has to be constitutional. Go through that journey and say, because of where Nigeria is now, we're making an amendment, we're pushing for an amendment to our laws to make this sacrifice for this period while we are waiting for Nigeria to get out of this recession, after which we will now go back and maybe review even upwards. Nobody will question you. If this slip happens and they had done that, nobody will say anything. We'll say, we know that they've made some sacrifices. At least we saw that they were pushing a new bill to make some adjustments. We are not seeing that corresponding sacrifice from people who are making huge sacrifices.
For example, returning lawmakers shouldn't be getting certain things. So you probably have an office, you need to get a car, those perks.
We'll talk about that.
These are breakdowns. But again, we're not discussing
the other first caller that a lot of our representatives spend a lot of money helping their constituents. Agreed. Because we run a stomach structure democracy. And so if you're not a generous person, they will not re-elect you. Absolutely. And we know that. So
is this money for that?
No, it's not necessarily, but they will use it for it. They will, because they have to keep on settling and oiling this.
So that's it. At what cost will they be willing to let those stipends go? If I don't take the stipends because, based on my integrity, and then I go back to my constituency. So that's where we also play a part. Are you going to your representative's office hoping he drops cash for you? Because it's about cash, cold money. Some of them have told us some people will ask for fees. They will tell you they are paying fees for a lot of people. People ask for monies because they've been out of jobs. Is that how we want them to develop our constituency? I just think that even us, we have to remember that we play a part in this. In fact, when you see a lawmaker giving money, just know that there's going to be a problem. But sometimes the only reason we support our politicians is because they're willing to remove cold cash and give us. And they have to get it from somewhere.
Let me take it from this. Hello, good morning. Hello? I'm so sorry I lost that caller. Okay, we're going to go on a break. When we come back, we'll try to wrap up on this. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.